Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to be inspired, stimulated, and cultivated. Coming to you live from Charm City here in Baltimore, Maryland. It's the Breaking Barriers Show with Dr. Stacy Stanley. The show that empowers you to take your freedom and watch it unfold by breaking barriers one at a time. And now, here's your host for Breaking Barriers, Dr. Stacy Stanley.
Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Barriers, now with Dr. Stacy. Look, one of the issues that we are facing is an increase of single parents within the United States. That means one parent, no other adults, raising children under the age of 18. Well, in comparison to other countries and cities, it looks like the U.S. has it beat. It's roughly around 23% of U.S. families are tackling this issue. Some of them we don't know about because there are other factors that may play a part as to do they really have another adult or not in the household. But in most cases, according to the Census Bureau and what reportings and data has found, is that the U.S. has approximately 23% of families who are living and raising children as single parents. Well, today's show is going to tackle that. What does it look like in the life of a single dad? I don't know. I can't tell you, but we're going to soon find out. By the way, if you don't know, March the 21st is Single Parent Day. So connect with a single parent. Check on them, see how they're doing, see if they need any help. Because not every single parent, is going to let you know that they're having challenges. So take a moment just to think about and reflect on how you can be of assistance, be emotional support for them. Although you're unable to do everything physically, but to be there to let them know that I can support you. Well, on this episode, we're going to go straight into it. My guest today is going to tell you exactly what it takes to have two girls as a young single black dad who is he's slaying for real, slaying the single dad position. So I hope you enjoy this interview and I'll see you soon. So I want to welcome to the show today a very near and dear man to, and I can say man because he's not a baby anymore, but it is my nephew, Dominic. Thank you for joining me on this platform. I know this is a very unusual topic as it relates to young men being able to use this platform to talk about what it's like to be a single dad, raising two daughters, and what it's like. I can't speak on it because I am not a single dad, so the best way to go is to actually have someone that can talk about it and give us an idea in the life of being a single dad. So thank you for joining me today.
Of course, anytime.
So I remember when, and I'm going to kind of go back a little bit because I remember when you were born. I remember getting the news that you were going to be in this world 9 months later, okay? And the first thing, because I never had the experience at that point of having a baby to give my attention to, so you were my first. And I was not your parent, but I felt like I guarded you and I cared for you as if you were my firstborn, my child. And with that being said, I remember you growing up. I remember how you were taken care of. And I believe that your care and the provisions that were made for you were extremely well. You experienced things that some other kids did not get to experience. And I just say that from a population of young boys. Just in my professional area, you don't have a lot of kids that are able to venture out of the state or the city. They don't know anything but the street that they live on, from one end of the block to the next end of the block.
That's true.
So I can say that you grew up with a support behind you, and so here we are today. Now you are a single dad of 2 daughters, and if you don't mind me saying about them they are biracial.
Yes.
Because that stands out a lot.
It does.
Because when people see single dads, either they are black or they white, but we're talking to a single dad who has biracial daughters who then have to face things as they grow older, and you have to prepare them for that. So can we just talk about how you felt when you found out that you were going to be a dad for the first time?
When I first found out, I was actually at work. At work, I got the call. Obviously, Dominic, we have something to talk about. What that mean? Okay, so I get the message. I'm at work. I'm literally in the middle of work, and she gives me the news, and I'm just stuck. Like, I think if I could put it in one way, I was stuck.
Was this the mom? Was this their mom?
Yes, their mom called, and she was like, "Yeah, we had something to talk about." I took a couple tests, and I am pregnant.
Okay.
Oh man, it was a very. I don't think there was an emotion behind it. There was more of a what now? Like, obviously I it was no fear, there was no worry, because I know myself. I'm very adaptive, and obviously I know myself, so I had trust and faith in myself that whatever was to come was going to be the best that I could do. So when I got that message, it was just wow. Okay, so what now? So it was the kick-in factor of, okay, what now? Obviously, as you spoke, in your interview with my cousin Tia. Hey Tia. When y'all talked about, when you and Grandma went and had that talk about, if it was abortion or adoption, we never talked about that. It was just that, we just got to get ready for it. So what now? So we just had to play our cards right, and the scariest part was telling my mom. To be 100% honest, that was probably the scare factor when that happened. Obviously, again, I trusted myself, but I wanted obviously my mom being my biggest everything, positive. I needed her to be on board with me because that's who I had, So when I explained it to her, obviously it was a shock factor for her as well. But again, I wasn't a teen dad. I was 20 I was 20 years old.
Yeah. So you just crossed the marking of being a teenager, but not the 21.
Correct. So that was the hard part. But we got past it, we got past it. It was obviously the girl's mom and my relationship was still fairly fresh. So we have to learn how to, deal with each other, and as well of get ready to bring a child into this world. That was the what now, So once we got past that, it was just uphill from there. I had to do what I had to do. Obviously, I had a job. I was like, okay, so I got money. I had money, so what now? People be like, yo, you have a child when you're ready. So what does it mean to be ready?
Right.
There is no such thing.
And I think a lot of times that comes from your support. And you mentioned your mom. You have a lot of support, even though it may not be as big. Some people have like 20 or 30 people. You don't always need a whole village, technically.
Yeah,
like, you don't need the whole community per se.
Correct.
When you have very strong people backing you up. Yes, we say, it takes a village. Yeah, I mean, a village doesn't necessarily have to be 100 people. It can literally be the people who are close and strong.
You just need a starting five. That's
yeah.
why I tell people, you need a starting five.
For those who don't know, starting five, basketball, that's just related to basketball. Yes, when you have that starting five, and you have the people on the bench, you got your people sitting on the bench, and we just kind of, okay, when you got to bring one person in, you send the next person out, and that's what I saw with you, your mom being supportive, to be here in the same place as you. It takes a lot, because this is not just something you handle on your own, especially when you have people in the household.
Correct.
There to support you.
Correct.
And even with your mom being a single mom until she got married, now you have extra hands on deck within the household.
That's true. And also from the other parent, the girl's parent, their family as well. It takes both sides to obviously come together to kind of bring that, like you said, that starting five into a starting 10. And then you revolve around that as well. So it also helps when everyone is on board and is very open-minded to be so for lack of a better term,
right?
That takes a lot, for somebody to, especially for us having to bring in this child. We have to blend these families together to kind of make that motion kind of smooth. It's not going to always be smooth. There's no telling what happens in the mix of that,
right?
But as far as us coming together and just understanding that, okay, we have one goal, and that's to make sure that this child is very well protected and very well loved.
Yeah, because that's important. It's okay for people to be there. Oh, let me come over and hug on the baby,
right.
But what about protecting, making sure that safety? Because sometimes, believe it or not, even in my line of work, there are kids who are not even safe at home. So when there's a home that safety is there, it just makes it a lot easier. Not saying like issues will not arise, but it just makes it easy. So let's just bring it forward to as the arrival begun in May. I feel like I can remember that day like it was yesterday.
It was a long day. It felt like a long week, actually. Like it was a lot. That's the finale, as you would say, of this is it. Like there's no other no other outlet.
Right. No turning back.
Baby's here. It's time to go home. All right. Once you go home,
no turning back.
That's when it takes a lot of weight. Coming to you, because you're not quite sure how this baby's going to react to anything, as far as whether it's breastfeeding or formula feeding or and then obviously once they started getting into regular food, what upsets their stomach, all kinds of things, so it's a very what now thing, like again, it's just that, okay, what now? Like, what is it? Like, why is the baby crying? Why is the baby doing this? Why? It's not much you can ask, because every parent and every baby is different, if you have a kid today and I have a kid today, our baby, even though in the same amount of time frame, that your baby's totally different than mine. So
right.
It's hard to ask questions, you don't know where to turn. So I ran into that a lot. I was like, I don't know who to go to ask this, because it's totally different.
Did you experience like any, because when people think about postpartum, they think about the mom, but they forget that a dad, especially when a dad is active, were there any feelings of like postpartum, like sadness? I don't want to just jump straight into postpartum depression because sometimes just a sense of sadness, anxiety, just a little, the nervousness.
Definitely. It's a lot of that, especially when the mom is going through postpartum. Now, you as the father, you have to find out, how can I help? Like, so you have that anxiety of, am I doing enough? Am I doing too good? Am I, especially when you're the one working, like you have to kind of balance that. It was hard for me to balance that. Okay, I have to make the money, but then when I come home, I still have a job to do, regardless.
As being a dad, as being a significant other, a supporter,
right.
And then you have to also maintain yourself.
That's hard. It's hard. It's a juggle. You gotta. I didn't really understand that till later. Like how to manage each and every avenue that it takes, like you said, being a father, being a significant other, being a provider, being this. It was so many different jobs. You don't understand that every one of those need a certain amount of attention. One time more than the other, and then it swaps, and then you kind of. So that's where I feel like I didn't understand at the point in time that it was postpartum. It was just. I felt like I was freaking out. Like, okay, where do I go? Where do I go? Like, it's.
So if nobody has learned how to juggle, this is one thing that you're going to learn is how to juggle without the balls. They're just balls in a different capacity. But with that, the self-care, being able to get rest, being able to eat properly. I'm so tongue-tied. Sorry, but that's how it is. We are very transparent. This is like not a
not at all
perfect world that we're in. So yes, when we get tongue-tied, things like that happen. We all experience it, but it is what it is. So properly being able to eat, rest, do all of that. That's still added into how you have to maintain your responsibilities as a dad, significant other,
because you tend to forget about yourself at some point. You like, sometimes I would go a day and realize that, oh man, I haven't ate, because I have been doing this, that, and the third. It's something that you tend to forget, that you still have to take care of you, like, because if you the captain of the ship and you go down and out, what happens after that?
Until you wait for another boat, if it comes.
If it comes. If it comes.
And in this case, it's nobody else's responsibility to do exactly what you are responsible to do.
You can't expect somebody to live your life forever. You can't expect it. If it happens, perfect. If not, you gotta figure out which route works best for you.
Right.
For your specific environment. Obviously when we first had Jordan, my oldest daughter, we were living with her grandparents, living with her grandparents, and so we had to adapt until our home was ready. We had to adapt of bringing a newborn into someone else's house. It's not like we had a home to bring her to directly to ourselves, so we got to deal with someone else's input. Oh, the baby parent, you do, like, oh, you should do this, or you should do. And especially when we're still trying to learn how to deal with the child ourselves without trying to worry about too many outside energies and opinions and just all of that. It's overwhelming, so it took a lot, especially on us individually as parents, and also on our relationship in trying to build a family, I guess you could say. It took a lot for us to adapt to that, and then once we got our own place, it was a little bit easier. It was just us, and whatever we decided to do, we trusted each other enough to obviously we don't know what we're doing. Nobody knows. There's no rule book.
It's like you writing the rule book as you go along, like day one.
Okay, there we go. Like, it's almost like you just, it's the end of the day and you write, okay, this happened today, so tomorrow we're going to try to do this. Like,
right.
You can only plan so far in advance.
Right.
So, and that was a hard part as well, because I'm not the most organized person either. You know, I never have been. Got a little bit better, but
yeah, that's just being transparent, because people, you can't see it as, okay, I just came into this thing perfectly matched to be organized. No, you're gonna have days when it's like you cannot do any cleaning. You cannot. It's hard. Mentally, physically, like it can
emotions go crazy, like you said with postpartum. Obviously, her emotions is very all over the place. You know, understandable. And again, I've never witnessed that. You know, I don't recall when my mom had my sister that she had postpartum, or you know, there was never a thing of talked about. It wasn't until we were in it that we felt like, oh, we in it. Like we're in the middle of this ocean, but the waves is coming, but you gotta figure out. Like you said, you can't expect no one to throw your life raft, so you kind of just pick up as you go along. You know, I wish back then we had certain TikToks.
I know, right?
And, you know, informational things. Yeah. YouTube was a thing, but it wasn't.
People didn't talk.
I feel like people didn't talk about their feelings. Like now, like people are so open to their feelings now. You know, so then it was just like me as a man. I felt like I couldn't have emotions. I shouldn't have emotions. I shouldn't. You know, I gotta stay strong. I gotta stay tough. I can't. I have to be a soldier. You know, so.
And that's good that you brought that up, because a lot of men, it is hard working in the mental health field. There are a lot more women who are like, let me just let it all out. But it takes a very special person to allow a man to feel comfortable enough to say, look, this is what I'm being transparent and honest about. This is what I'm going through.
This is what I'm feeling.
And I'm lost. I'm stuck. Because it's not just women who get lost and get stuck. It's not just married couples who are raising kids in this picture perfect world who get stuck. But we also have single parents, single dads whose voices are not put out there in the forefront to be heard.
That's true.
So if you bringing that up, that's good to know, is that for anyone who is watching and listening, is that men go through emotional challenges,
and it's
just
okay.
like women.
And it's okay.
It's okay.
But obviously, you know, growing up, you know, as a, you know, I don't have too many boys in our family. You know,
right.
We don't have too many boys or, you know, men in general. So the men that we do have to look up to, and that point of time, it was more so, what you crying for? You know, it was always like we weren't supposed to show emotion. So that, again, once I had a daughter, I was like, oh man, like I had to have emotion, you know, not only for my daughter but also for her mother as well. That was a big thing as far as our relationship, is that I never wanted to show my feelings. Like I was like, like I said, I had to be tough, like, you know, and
sweep it under the rug, and then after a while that rug just builds up, and next thing you know, you go tripping over your own rug because it just, let me just put it under here and get back to it. Right,
but that also affects, I used to only think of it as it affects my relationship, my significant other, if it affects my significant others, and obviously it causes that what's the word, like a force between us. What happens to the child? You know?
So it definitely impacts the child, because people think like, oh, I'm just going to stick it in and, you know, do these things just for the sake of the child. But guess what? You can be doing more harm, because what else do children have to worry about? They don't have to worry about getting a job. They don't have to worry about, you know, what I need to cook for dinner. So they are sensing, they can sense the challenges, especially when there's, you know, some, you know, those gaps in between where something is not right. Whether you happy or not happy.
Kids have this way of just sensing, you know, they feel that energy that something's off, you know. So again, being obviously, like I said, I wasn't the youngest, but when I had my first child, but obviously I was still in a less mature situation. I was still developing a lot of development. You know, in your early 20s, you still don't know.
The prefrontal cortex is not even fully developed until about the age of 25. So you still, with being able to make decisions, you need still some support and direction, because, and being able to say, you know what, if I'm not feeling this today, what should I do? But you stuck it in there.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah, definitely.
And what makes you different than, you know, people who are not single dads that are giving 100%, because you're giving 120%, is that you stuck it in. You didn't just walk away when times got rough.
No, you have to, you know, because obviously you sticking it through that, it can, for some people, it's either going to break you or it's going to make you, you know? So for me, it was more of I looked at it as, okay, if I leave now, what am I gaining from? I'm not gaining no knowledge from behind it. I'm not learning nothing about where I can fix this in the future. You know, I can't just, if you just quit and give up off the first thing, like, okay, like anything, you know, you go outside, shoot a couple baskets, them baskets don't go in, you like, okay, well, it's just not for me.
Right.
How do you know if you shot 20 more times, them next 10 would have been perfect? Now you 10 for, you know, it's a perspective of it as you have to at least try. So at least when I before obviously, you know, the separation of me and their mom, I felt like I did give as much as I could. You know, I did it for as long as I could, and I had nothing else to really gain from it. You know, I just wanted to do something better for me.
Right.
And again, it's not selfish to do anything for yourself, because again, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anything else that's attached to you.
Right.
It's a home, a car, or your friendship, your family, whoever it is. It's hard to provide when you're not providing for yourself.
Yeah.
You kind of put yourself on the back burner, you know, as most people do, especially as parents. We put ourselves on the back burner. It's not always the best thing or best way to go about it, you know. So that was just something, again, that I learned. Like I said, I was 20 when I had her. I was probably, like you said, after 25, yes. Then I kind of understood, okay, I'm doing these certain things that I'm not really gaining the knowledge that I should probably have to help raise the kid, you know. But again, it's trial and error, you know. You don't, like you said, you writing that book every day. It's no, you can't 10 years from now like, okay, we're gonna do this. So it's hard to really plan, because anything can happen.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was the turning point in my life, when I was like, okay, I shot my 40 shots and 38 of them went in. You know what I mean? Like, I did that. So all right, on to the next. What can I do to help better my skills as far as being a better person, not only for myself again, but for my kids at this point. So that was the turning point at that point.
So as we talk about shooting the shot, so now we have Callie, which is daughter number 2, and I'm not sure if I shared this with you. I had a dream before I found out that
Callie,
I would be an auntie again. And I remember in this dream, I believe I had either told your mom or my grandma, your grandmom, that I had a dream and I saw your silhouette. Like, I saw your stature and build, and you was holding a carrier, it was empty, but it was a pink blanket.
Oh man.
And the week later, I believe, is when I found out.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's gonna be a girl, because in my dream, I saw you, but you was holding a carrier with a pink blanket in it.
See,
and then
the start of
we
girl
found out
the start
another
of
niecey.
Yes.
So we're shooting that shot again, and then you have two girls. 3 years difference. 2 years.
Two and a half.
2.5 years difference. Yep, because 2.5 years difference. How did that look? Because now we know what child number one is, her own personality, but we have daughter number one with her personality, and we have daughter number two who comes along with another personality.
That's exactly what it is. It's like a whole nother learning process.
Yeah.
It's almost as if you meet a new person. It's just that you help to guide this baby to become a toddler, from that toddler to a kid, So it's different. Like, if you go on the street and you meet someone, you got to learn their personality, especially if it's someone that, a friendship or what have you. You have to learn that person. So it's just that you get the early stages of learning and developing at the same time. I'm learning you, but I'm developing you at the same time. So with that, once Callie came along, it was I felt like it was going to be easy. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, I got this. Jordan was easy. Yeah, no. Callie was a whole
vibe.
Yeah, she's something else, but
a whole vibe.
it was a okay, I need to reevaluate myself. I was like, okay, I thought I was okay with this, but okay. So again, it's just the fact that you get to, relearn a whole new person, and then it's just the fact that that person is more like you than you think, and then the sprinkle of everyone else in there, know, like I could see a lot of my family in her, like she's like a sprinkle of a little bit of everyone. Same thing with Jordan, and again, because she has certain traits that Callie doesn't have, it makes it, it makes it a challenge. I don't want to call it difficult. It makes it a challenge to balance that, because they are so different. Like, they're alike, but they're very different. One's more emotional than the other, and 1 minute the other one's more emotional than the other. It's just the fact that you have to adapt. Especially as me being a dad. Like, I don't know anything about being a girl, so like their emotions are totally different than what my emotions may feel, or what I'm used to seeing from anyone else. As far as being a female, I have an understanding of females. Obviously, I'm surrounded by them.
Because you have your mom, and then you have your sister, and
I have aunts. I have not too many guys to really,
They be like, okay, dog, what you going through? Because making sure that we understand. It's like you basically.
Exactly. So it's
you're right. You setting the bar for
what's to come.
Yeah.
And that is a very big blessing. You know what I mean? To even have the opportunity to see how they are. How much they change, how much they don't change, how much they do things and mimic you. Like it's off. Like, the only, like I always tell anyone out, the only person I've ever seen grow from nothing, like literally my mom's belly to a grown woman was my sister. So now I get to see it and be in it. Like, I didn't have to be in it when as her being my sister. I didn't have to take care of her like I have to take care of them, so I tried to, like, I don't want to say mirror my mom, but kind of pick what she was doing and kind of give it to them, but it's still different because, again, Diamond's different than Jordan and Callie. So, like, I can't exactly mimic it. So, again, that's when you reach out for, you reach out to
you. Go into that toolbox.
Yeah.
All the tools that were given to you that was in that toolbox.
Yes.
You use those. You take it out as you need it. You take the tape measure out if you need it. You take the wrench out, the screwdriver, you take those out. And that's what you were provided, was the tools in a toolkit passed along to you, and however you needed to use those tools was going to be at your discretion. However, the proper tools were given to you.
That is true.
So it's just when people say, "Oh, how did you do it?" You was given the right tools.
Right, and also too, you have to learn how to use those tools because I can use a hammer to either fix something or break something. You know,
Exactly.
So
exactly.
For one tool that I have, I might not need it for this particular job. You know, I might need a more sensitive person, so I'll go to this person for that. You know, you have to know, like you said, you have to know your tools and you have to know how to utilize those tools as well. Because again, anybody can go in the toolbox and start fiddling
You don't want me to
around.
go in the toolbox. Because I'll be the head, look, don't get me to hang up nothing, drill nothing to the wall, because I'm telling you it's going to be lopsided. So we have to stick to what we know, and what you're going through, I have no idea about. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it feels like because I am not a man.
That's the challenge for me that I've realized, and I have been realizing more so now, because I don't have too many people to ask. I don't know too many girl dads. Like, you know, I don't have my homie, like, he got a couple girls. Let me go ask,
the single dads.
What do I? Yeah, you know, I've been talking to my mom about that. I was like, I need to start a single dads club or something, like, because I'm sure there's plenty of men out here that feel like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, it's hard, and then also too, you can only ask a female for so much, and then it's just like, all right, you don't understand how I feel internally. Right. Is not the what do they call it? The motherly nature. What is it called? Like the
motherly love.
The maternal.
The maternal.
Yeah. I don't have the maternal. Like, you know, it's different. You know, so when I come off to Jordan or Callie about something, they might look at me as like I'm coming off to them as a bear, but then they go to their grandma, their mom, or whoever. They perfectly fine. Yeah, right.
With the maternal instinct of being how to care from a different viewpoint or perspective than a man, and then that's where the whole nature versus nurture come in. Is that yes, they're born with female genes and hormones and things like that. So yes, we can relate to it.
It's more of a y'all can dance a little bit. Me, I'm like,
let me figure out this dance. Let me figure out this dance, and I'm gonna try.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that it is very challenging for. I know for myself, and again, I'm sure other girl dads are out there that feel the same way. But we still have that soft spot that I don't think the daughters will ever really fully understand. You know what I mean? That we have, like, we still have that soft spot, that very nature, that nurturing, that care, that we have. That it's just that we're still men, like, it's that balance. Again, it's all about balance. I've tried and I have been trying, to balance that, so I don't come off as a like I don't want to feel like a drill sergeant,
Right.
I don't want to feel like that either, but I also want them to, at least as they get older, to be able to come to me comfortably. Like, that's one of my biggest goals as far as, especially raising them as being, young ladies. I know, obviously I know what ladies like or what have, how ladies should carry themselves. I can teach them those, but it's different coming from me as from a different female's perspective,
And for those who feel like it's not good to show, as a single dad, to show your emotions to your daughters, you are doing a disservice by only showing them the tough side. Because now when dads do that, it makes them, I can't go to you about everything. I can't really cry to you. I can cry to mom, or not saying that they can't cry to their dads, but it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it's that comfortability.
It takes a lot of work to say, you know what, I can just be open because my dad is transparent with me. And then not only that, as they get older, they're not the guy that enters their life. Auntie is definitely going to make sure that whoever it is that dates my nieces they know that emotional intelligence is needed.
That's a big thing.
And setting the I'm so hard, or the drill sergeant.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, because as they get older and that's all they see, then that's all I can look for is the guy that's going to be the drill sergeant. But they haven't gotten to that age, but they are
experiencing their emotions,
Right.
So sometimes, like, say if they do get in trouble or anything, sometimes I come off as hard on them, like, why are you crying? Why are you this? I want you to explain what you're feeling as well. I don't want you to just show emotion but then have no reason of explain why. What is it that's making you cry? What is it that's making you feel frustrated? What is making you that talk to me? I always want them to. I always tell them, use your words. I can't help you or guide you if you can't tell me. I need you to be able to open up to me and explain to me, I'm feeling this. Well, okay, let's break that down. Get to the root of the. You almost have to be that therapist as well.
I'm telling you, because they get older, they ain't there yet. As they get older, they're gonna be ready for these relationships, because you are definitely setting the foundation for that. And when it comes down to that social emotional learning, which I'm really, really big on, is being able to use your words, the social awareness, the self-awareness, the decision making. And the decision making will come with, let me be able to explain to dad what I am feeling, and how to handle those emotions with self-regulation skills. They're the things that you prepare them for as they go into the pre-teen years and going into the teen years and young adult years. That it'd be an easy transfer from one to the next. So going from preteens to teens to young adulthood, it won't be anything new to them to explain their emotions. So asking them to use their words and letting them feel safe enough to know that I am here to listen.
Yeah, communication is everything, and that's with any relationship, as a parent to a parent, or as a friend to a parent, or
right.
Obviously, especially to your children, because as children, I can say we, because we all have experienced being a child. We don't know how to explain what we're feeling. As babies, babies cry because they're either hungry, they can't vocalize what it is. So that's why for them, I try to, yes, you can cry, but when you get yourself together, come back to me and, okay, Dad, this is what bothered me, whether I did something or something else happened to you. You can explain that to me. I'm not always right. Same thing, you're not always right. So I just need you to explain to me what is it that has you feeling this way. So again, that was just something that I learned, again, just going through my personal life, that you see a lot of parents, oh, my baby keep crying, oh, shut up, oh, shut up, go away, this, that, and the third, but when they go away, they still feel it, so
like, where are they going to go to?
Right.
Who are they going to go
right,
to?
Exactly. So then now you push them to the outside world, then you wonder why your kid is not acting, I don't want to say regular, but as far as, the regular person, they're acting in an unusual manner, like, why are you acting like that? Well, because you pushed them on to someone else, you weren't that soft pillow that they needed to hold when they needed to express,
Right.
So that's one thing that I have, again, I guess because they are girls, I had to dial in, I had to understand that their emotions, they're very much more emotional than, obviously, it is guys out there that are very emotional, and me as a kid, I was more emotional than the rough kid, I wasn't the most toughest rough, that wasn't who I was. So for me, I can see that in them. So now I know that, okay, I'm not gonna sit there and tell you, go to your room, you crying, this and that, you too loud, you this, that. Sometimes, yes, as a parent, you will say, go to your room, because you need a mental break before you can deal with it, and that's okay too, but at least don't forget about coming back to it, and that's even in any relationship. If I'm in a marriage, you know what I mean, you you get into an argument in your marriage and then y'all don't talk about it for the next 2 weeks,
it's still
that's
there.
still there. Like
Yeah.
you just left it there, you
Yeah.
know. So I don't like I tell them, I don't want to leave it there. You know, yeah, you might have had me at a whole nother level,
right?
But again, once I come down and we can meet somewhere in the middle,
then we ready to go. We ready to rock and roll.
Exactly.
So it's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm learning a lot from your experience. And this is why we're having this conversation, because like I said, I don't know. I just know from a single mom standpoint, right. But I don't know from a single dad. So just to kind of gauge into, because I know they have their different personalities. When it comes down to them now being at the age where they can help each other with doing things, how does that kind of take the weight off of you a little bit?
It's a gift and a curse, because especially for the oldest. So say they're upstairs playing in their room and somebody does something not supposed to. Who do you want to go to? The oldest one. Hey, you know better. You know, you want to go to them. You know better. Why'd you do that? Why'd you let this happen if you knew better? You almost put a parenting badge on them while you're present, but you're not in the present. You know, so it's a gift and a curse. You know, there will be a bond that they will have that I will never understand. You know, and again, on the flip side is you gotta step in, because then that oldest will try to almost overparent you. You know, so then I gotta be like, okay. Yeah, you stay there. All right, now I can deal with you. But I hear what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, so when Jordan does do that, like when she tries to parent Callie, I'm like, okay, you tell her right from wrong. Callie, don't do that. And if she doesn't follow through, that's when, okay, I'm telling Dad. Right. You know, it's not always bad to tell me certain things, but don't go snitching on each other. You know, but it's
get stitches.
Exactly. You know, it's a hard fine line that you have to follow. With that, you know, they struggle with it sometimes, but they get better as they go along. You know, so yes, that very well is a gift and a curse. If I could put it in the simplest point, it's not easy, you know, because again, you don't want to make the older child feel like they have to parent their sibling. You know? That's not what I'm asking you to do. Be a protector, yes, but not tell them what to do. This, that, and no, you don't have to do that. But it's hard to really explain that to a child, right? You know, like I can explain it to you, right? And you would be like, "Oh yeah, I get it," but for them, they were like, "Well, where do I go?" Like, like you want me to do this or you don't want me to do it. So it's you know, it's not perfect, you know, but they try, you know, and again, we do try to have conversation goes a long way with you know what they're supposed to do or not supposed to do. So yeah.
So now that they're school age, what does it look like getting them ready? Like you have
it's
to
chaotic.
Get up.
It's chaotic. It's chaotic. Every day. Like how long is school? School's what? From
you got focus 6.5 hours.
Man, okay. So that's what it feels like getting them ready. It's like preschool before school. Like it's almost like I gotta reteach them how to get ready in the morning. You know what you're supposed to do. When you wake up, I should not have to come upstairs and wake you up and like, all right, get ready. And then I come downstairs and you still sitting there like, I mean, that's how you didn't brush your teeth, you didn't get your clothes right, you didn't do this, you didn't.
So it's a job before the job.
It's a job before the job. Like it's a rough battle in the morning, you know. And not every morning. Some mornings are better. You know, they get better with it, you know. And I try to have a certain routine for them. When you wake up, brush your teeth, wash your face, boom. You know, the usual.
Routine is so key. Good. You need routine.
Routine is key. But man, in the morning, it's like they still sleeping. Their body is just wandering. That's what it look like, a bunch of wanderers. Like, they don't know what to do. Like, I don't understand. Then same thing when they get home. You know, when they get home, just wash your hands, change your clothes. Your clothes is dirty.
You've been out all day.
Yeah. Go change your clothes. You ain't got to take a shower just yet. But, they have these specific routines, and then sometimes they don't follow those routines. And again, it's frustrating as a parent because I'm like, man, we've been doing this for 1, 2, 3, 4 months now, and you still not
right.
How? But again, repetition, and it takes a lot. And I know you know this word, the P word, patience. Patience is key because man, it's hard. It is. It's really hard. They obviously it's like a follow the leader type thing. Like sometimes Callie's the leader, sometimes Jordan's the leader, and it's just like, listen, let me be the leader, and y'all just follow.
So that's when you say it's like a gift or a curse, because it's like, okay, now I need to be the leader.
Right.
Y'all not the leader right now, but I need to be the leader.
Correct.
So we had this conversation before we started filming was about the hair and doing their hair.
Yes.
So, I love stuff like this as being a retired cosmetologist, and kind of give us an insight of what learning to do hair as a dad.
It's honestly, for me, all right, I'm gonna start with me. For me, it's therapeutic. Believe it or not,
I believe it.
It's therapeutic only when they're not crying about it. Like, if they can just sit there and just let me do what I need to do, cool. Like, sometimes they got too many opinions. They want me to do this to their head, do that to their head, or Daddy, I don't like it like this. Can you do this? Like, listen, I'm trying, okay? But I only have a couple little things in my pocket that I can whip out and do for your head.
Right.
I only got a couple cards to play. You hit me with a draw 4, I'm like,
You want me to do all this extra stuff?
Yeah, extra this. I'm like a braid, but then when you want the piece out with the braid or this side, but your hair's leaning this way, but it don't look right. And they be like, "But Dad, I like it this way." Okay.
Getting the part straight. Have you struggled with doing part?
Yeah, I struggle with the parts.
Okay.
I struggle with the parts. I have a lot of helping hands when it comes to the part. Comes to the braiding, the parts. I'm not the best, but a ponytail or a bun.
Oh, you got the bun?
I got the bun.
People struggle with the bun. I know there are bun strugglers out there. We got a bun pro who is making it happen with these girls.
Pro, man. And again, it takes, like you said, it takes some people to come into your life and help you with everything. Like once I had the ponytail down pat, I had somebody come into my life and explain the bun. Like they do their bun and it's like, dang, it's pristine. And I'm like, how do you do that? So every time they do their bun, I'm just like, man, I'm learning from that. And I'm like, okay, let me try that on. Usually it's Callie's hair. I can try it on. I can try it on Callie's hair easier than Jordan's hair. Jordan's hair is their textures is totally different. Yeah. So with Callie's, I can try certain styles before I try it on Jordan, just so that way I can kind of get the feel of, okay, I need this to be here, or, or how much to pull through the bun, or try to get that bun a little bit more tight, or give them a pineapple, whatever the pineapple, I don't know, this is just terms, but.
The pineapple's before your time.
Exactly, so I just be like, man, I don't know, and they love their little Callie, especially Callie. I want my piece out. She likes a little piece out, a little curlies here, and with her button. And then Jordan, she's more of a ponytail girl. Like she likes her hair in a ponytail. Like she want the half up, half down, and so I'm like, okay. I try to give them what they want, but still stay in my element without trying to make it. Because it's time consuming, and I'll be like, I don't want to keep their hairs, so tight into ponytails and to buns and then certain things like that. So, but with them, they don't want their hair. My hair's in my face, and I'll be like, it's hair. Like, I mean, what you supposed to do? Like, do you want me to cut it? Because I got the clippers, and we can,
Get a regular.
Exactly, a regular with the little tape up.
Yeah. Give them a regular. Like, look, okay, you gonna keep complaining.
Right, like, so.
God on here.
Get your regular, you get to go. But, yeah, it's fun. Again, it's therapeutic, but it can be frustrating. But that's with anything, I just try to, again, be open-minded as far as, again, what they like. I want them to still have their sense of style, you know, whatever. Even when it comes to them picking out their clothes, like, okay, go pick out your clothes, but show me before you go outside. Cause leave it up to them, they go outside anything, you know. But I need to know what it is that you like to wear, you know, like with them, like they don't like to wear jeans, they rather wear leggings, or you know, it's
just like their aunt.
Man, I'm gonna have to send
I'd rather wear leggings. The jeans just feel material.
And that's what she said. It feels weird. And I'm like, it's jeans, but I don't wear leggings, so I don't know the difference.
They feel better. It's a whole different life. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we want to come back, and then we're going to talk about how your support system looks, and how do you compare fatherhood now compared to your experience with fatherhood with your dad, because your dad wasn't totally out the picture. So we don't want to leave that picture as if like his dad is not living or is not in the state. No, but you know, we wanted to focus
father to son, grandfather to daughter to granddaughter.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about all of that, and thank you again for joining, but we'll be right back.
Hi, this is radio presenter and DJ Al Seaforth, and I want to take this time out to talk about Expressions Mentoring and Consulting, your number one consulting agency providing services leading to great success. Dr. Stacy Stanley, professor at Morgan State University and Capella University grad, created a vision, and the vision is to help our youth of today develop social skills while building their self-confidence. Now, what makes Expressions Mentoring and Consulting unique is the professional knowledge and experience that is given for those who have mental health challenges. No one should feel out of place when trouble arises, so providing an equal, loving yet respectful environment is our number one mission. Our services provided include group mentoring, one-on-one mentoring, tutoring, training, lifestyle consulting, and emergency cardiovascular services. Get ready to take control of your total being. Schedule a consultation today and visit www.expressions-me.com or call 410-705-4522. Again, that's 410-705-4522. Expressions Mentoring and Consulting, your number one consulting agency providing services leading to great success.
Welcome back. We are back to continue this episode with tackling the challenges, the loving moments of single fatherhood, and we are back with our guest Dominic, and we said we was going to talk about the support. We was going to talk about the family cycle of the father son to now son daughter to the whole lineage. So, but we're going to talk about the support and what that look like, and would it be anything different that you would have done? So, how did the support system look? What did it comprise of?
It was very good compared to a lot of my peers or friends or what have you. Like you said, like my dad wasn't not there. He me and him have had this conversation. Obviously we all at some point in time feel like we could have done better. Again, there's no guidebook. There's nowhere to go to know that you're going the right way. There's no map. There's no anything for that.
Right.
So for me and my dad, we have a very good relationship. Despite the lack of whatever he might feel like he lacked in. We have a very good, because of communication. We have had talks where things that bothered me, things that bothered him, things that he felt like he could have done, things that I felt like he could have done. Whatever. Everything else outside of everyone else's opinion or anything like that. it's fine and dandy, but from us to have that male conversation, or those, like, not, I don't want to say, because we never really had arguments, but we've had those back and forths of,
those differences.
Yeah, those differences, and that's okay, and you need those sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Iron sharp iron,
Of course.
So obviously, as me now, and we talk about those things, and he sees how I am with, my daughters, he can't fully understand that, because he's only had the one son, as opposed to me, having two girls. It's not much that he can really help me with. Like, it's just, things that we can only talk about, how we feel as men, whether it's him, how he feel as a man at this point in time in his life, obviously, as opposed to when he had me at 18 when he had me. That's a big difference. You know?
He was just because just for the viewers, his dad, Dominic's dad, is my biological brother, and because he was in
high school.
He was senior year,
senior
you were
year,
born like a few.
I was born.
You was a newborn at the graduation, 1 month.
Right.
He was 1 month old, and when him and your mom graduated from high school, and I remember that day like it was yesterday too. And that was your first graduation.
That was my first graduation.
You attended your first graduation at 1 month old. So, and your dad and I had, discussions about that. What you experience is different than what he experienced. You have two daughters that are fairly close in age, and being able to raise them culturally different, because if you're looking at the background, they're coming from two different cultures and ethnicities, and bringing it all together. And this is where your situation is different than what many of us experience. When you're looking at the support, it wasn't just support from just one side.
No, it was every side. As I said during the break, to see that support when I was having my first child was everything. It's everything that I didn't know I needed. For everyone to experience that, and to see everyone's joy, to bring this family member that they have no idea. They obviously, yes, it's a part of it, but they didn't. You guys didn't have to be there. So when that was the case, when everyone was there, from my grandparents to her grandparents to her mom, her dad, my dad, her mom, like, to see everyone come together as
camping out,
man.
At the hospital.
My dad and his wife, my mom and her husband. It was just everyone put their, if there were any differences, all differences were put aside for this one person. Like, it was just it was amazing. And to see that was very supportive and very, well, like I said, it was something I didn't know I needed, So it just gave me that sense of drive that pushes me to keep going, and whether y'all know it or not, that's what pushes me to keep going, It's not expected when when you are young and you have a kid that everyone is very supportive. Some people are very standoffish. They don't want. They're so in their own emotion. They're not open to still providing. For that other. For their child. Off of their feelings, if that makes sense. They're so in tune with, well, I told you not to go ahead having kids, this, that, and the third. You made me a grandma. They make it about themselves,
Selfishness approach.
Right. Correct. So, being that me and my dad have had those talks of selfishness, and the fact that was all pushed aside, everything was pushed aside, and that was just out of genuine love. Like, that was that whole room and hospital room, that whole hospital, I probably
we took over.
It was crazy. You know, it was obviously my daughter's first name is Jordan, and like I said, it's like everyone came and camped out for Jordan. Like it was people laying on the floor, people laying on the couch. It was just people was everywhere. It was so much. I don't want to say people. It was family everywhere. You know, it was just family everywhere. So to have that was just, again, it was such a blessing that you don't really see in the moment until, you know, again, once later on, and you know, when Jordan was growing up, and I was like, man, everybody was there. Like everybody that needed to be there was there. Like it was like everything dropped, and this is what it's about, you know. And especially having your first child, it's a big thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's a very big thing. So to have that was just very. It was. It's no words to really put to it. You know?
And I remember because we were laughing about that. You know, just being there in the waiting room and just waiting for her arrival. We wasn't there just for Jordan. We was there for you and her mom. You know, to be a support. And we don't look at it like, okay, well, if things don't work out. No, like at the end of the day, this is our family member that has entered the world, and as a village and as a support system, our job is to keep showing love. And you know, hopefully she'll be able to, and even years to come, to be able to look back at this and say, you know what, this is what took place when I was born. You know, even for both of them, for both of the girls, you know, to be able to look back and see that. And as we're talking about them reflecting on their childhood and how you actually, along with everyone who supported you, going back with, when you look at your relationship with your dad, are you able to say, you know what, I wish this was different, or something that took place could have been different? Or do you accept the fact that things happen this way to get you to where you are now?
No, I don't. I used to wish things were different. Obviously, not knowing that those faults that was happening, you know, on his part or whatever happened, made me who I am. You know what I mean? It kind of gave me a guideline, not only on just his part, but any other male figure. Gave me a perspective of, okay, I don't want to do this. I want a little bit of that, but I don't want that. I want to, even though if it is a part of me, like it's like we like the certain. Obviously, me and my dad like a lot of the certain things. We are very much alike, you know. So you kind of, it's almost like you gotta sift through.
It's like going to the buffet. Like, okay, I want a little bit of cabbage this day. I mean, this plate, this round.
Yeah, to build your own character.
Yeah, a little bit of chicken, a little bit of macaroni and cheese, but I don't want peas.
Right. Exactly. You pick and choose what it is that you know, that you don't want to provide for your child. You know, I don't want certain things to come off to them how it felt like it was towards me. And again, I don't know my dad's whole situation. You know, I don't know what he was going through at that point in time. And obviously, we all go through things. You know, I'm sure it's gonna be parts where Jordan and Kelly like, dang, I wish my dad was this at that point in time. But again, there's no guide that we
you
can
can't go to the library and get. I mean, you can go to the library and get a parenting book, but it'd be so general and it would not apply to what you going through. It's not going to apply to what someone else goes through, because it's experience based situation. It is. It's like that only you can tell.
Exactly. It's like I tell people, it's like a car. Like, you get your license, you can test drive. I mean, not test drive. You can learn in one car. But then you learned in this one car, you go to get in a new car, you're like, oh wait, okay, the blinkers this, and then you gotta adapt to the evolution of you becoming a driver, and that's pretty much what it was. I just had to adapt to whatever that situation was. I knew I was going to be okay at the end of the day.
So with them, now being at that age, they are in elementary school. Have you faced any challenges with, because sometimes kids can tend to have a little jealousy, and because, I'm not saying it's because they're my nieces, but they're extremely beautiful. And I remember, and I'm just kind of reflecting, when I was younger, I used to go get my hair done. My mom made sure like my hair was done. And kids could be so mean. Like, you think you all that because your hair done, or because you wear a certain outfit, or because you just look a certain way. Have you had any challenges like with them being in school that you had to tackle as a single dad?
Not too many. Obviously, there is the one-off situations where, you know, you got the kids making remarks that are not true.
Right.
You know, or you know, obviously, again, them being girls, boys pick on girls a lot. You know, it happens.
Especially when they like them.
Especially when they like them. So again, like that's just part of conversations that I do have with them, that, you know, you can't listen to everybody. You know,
right.
Somebody's gonna love your hair, somebody's gonna not like your hair. But again, it's about what you internally feel about yourself. People can tell you anything, you know. But again, it's up to you to believe. So again, I try to build their self before, you know, trying to worry too much about what's going on, about, you know, well, this person, they said this, or this person said that. I'm like, all right, well, people talk.
Yeah.
You know, people gonna talk regardless, whether it's good or bad. But again, if you know who you are in general,
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. So yes, when they do have certain situations, whether it's usually them on the bus, like they have where, you know, the boys pick on them, like, you know, or call them certain names, or, you know, say things that they're not, again, they're kids as well. They don't know anything, you know, like, and again, it also could stem from what goes on there in their household. Yeah. Again, like I tell Jordan, I'm not in control of someone else's household, you know. They're like, well, my friend said I can come over, and they said that their mom is okay with it. Okay, I don't know their mom or dad, so but me as a parent, I'm not going to allow you to just go there and I don't meet them and I don't know anything about them, you know. So when they have that, you know, I don't want to say a beef, or that interaction where it affects them like that, and especially my oldest daughter, because she's such a people person. Like, she loves to make friends. She's such a friendly person, you know. And again, I admire that 110%, but I tell her also to be careful, you know, because again, that's a gift and a curse, having friends all the time, you know. It's hard to keep up. So when she feels as though, like, the other day she was saying how one of her friends was mad that she don't really be as friendly with her other friend, with her, because she got another friend now. I'm like, Jordan, you're one person. You can only spread yourself so far, you know. But obviously it affects her, because she's like, well, I do want to be her friend, but I want to be her friend too. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, and you can do that. But a real friend is going to understand that other people are needed in your life as well, you know. Same thing as a parent, like, because I be telling her, I'm your only friend. You know, I want you to be you're my friend. Like, I love you more than they ever will. You know what I mean? So yes, it is going to be some friends that come along that are here for a short time, or some that are not here for a long time. So again, that's just something that I try to break down. Again, communication. For her, you know, more so her. Callie, she's not friendly. Like, she could care less. Like, she's such a loner. Like, she's like me. Like, I don't need a lot of friends. All right, you know, I'm cool. But if Jordan's like, all right, come on, Callie. Like, I was like, all right, whatever. And then she'll go, and then she'll be playing for a little bit. And she's like, I'm going on my own. Like, I have it. But again, it's a conversation that, you know, I try to have with them frequently, especially with Jordan, because she is so friendly. Like, just be careful. Like, you can't please everyone. You know, you can't. And again, that shouldn't be your main goal, especially while you're in school, you know. So I've been trying to explain that to her too. Your schoolwork is what matters right now. Yeah, you can have friends along the way, but again, they will come and go, you know, and some will stay longer than others. But again, just be who you are. You can't alter yourself and spread yourself so thin that you don't enjoy it. You know what I mean? Enjoy having those friends. Enjoy, learning something new from one friend or learning something from another friend. That's what that's for. It's like networking,
And for those who don't get it, like having these daddy-daughter talks is so important. Is because why it's important is because it allows them to learn how to be good communicators as they get older. And when they're not taught or they're not shown how to communicate, it makes it challenging when you get older and society expects for you to know how to communicate. Even as adults, there are a lot of adults who do not know how to communicate. They feel like communication is
impulse.
It's
a lot.
It's a lot. So having those daddy-daughter talks is all incorporated into parenting, and you are doing this, and with you having support behind you, going, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. You don't know what next year is going to look like as middle school, high school, and I would love for them to be Morganites. I'm just going to say that.
Go ahead, Morgan. I ain't got no beef with that.
Look.
I got no beef with that.
Yeah. So just being able to have that support and to have those daddy-daughter talks is so important.
It is.
It's so important.
You have to. And just talking to a lot of people, you know what I mean? Sometimes, people try to stay so cocooned because they don't want to express their emotions, or they don't want to seem weak or seem vulnerable or seem... It's nothing wrong with being vulnerable, We have to be. We are human. We have our emotions. We have our angry days, our happy days. Like we have a roller coaster of emotions. This world is not easy. This world is not easy, and it's just that, you gotta understand that, like you say, you don't know what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow could be very perfect, tomorrow might feel very stressful, you just have to understand your ups and your downs, nothing's forever, and that's what I try to tell them too, like if Jordan's upset about something, that she didn't get a good grade, okay, well, next time, this is what you need to do to make that better, there's always tomorrow to make it better, it's just, it's a learning experience, all the way around. For them, for me, they have to learn me, I have to learn them, and they are evolving, so I have to learn Jordan from last year. It's not the same Jordan from this year.
Totally different every year.
And then Callie's in the mix too, so Callie is not the same Callie from last year. She's not going to be the same tomorrow. You just have to understand nothing is very stagnant,
right?
It's not. It's very up and down, up and down, up and down. It's just life.
Yeah. So as we begin to wrap up, are there any jewels or gems that you want to drop? Any nuggets that you want to share for those who are struggling with the highs and lows of being single dads due to whatever reason that they are single dads? Is there anything that you want to share to uplift them or to keep them going, and that you notice that for you may have worked? We know that everything does not work the same for each person.
Of course. But
is there anything that you want to share with anyone who is listening, who is struggling with trying to stay motivated and positive?
Yeah, again, like I said, patience is everything. Patience on yourself, patience on your kids, patience on life, nothing's perfect. There's no such thing as being perfect, but again, at least keep trying, you adapt to your surroundings, adapt to your children, adapt to your loved ones. Just keep providing love, just provide that, and everything else will work out around it. So
okay. So we want to thank you for listening and tuning into Breaking Barriers Now with Dr. Stacy. And this episode has been an eye-opener in so many different ways. Yes, being able to see this journey and to be a part of it. But when you get up close and really get the background of it, it really gives you a different perspective on what dads go through. So I just want to thank you for being able to take this time to share and be transparent. And the purpose is to help other people who struggle through this and not knowing what to do. And there are so many reasons why men are single dads. It could be, you know, divorce or death of a wife or a significant other. So many different reasons, and we don't want to treat any reason as if it's being like justified as to why that they are overshadowed, because it's not fair. Like at the end of the day, the responsibility solely it falls back on you. Even when you do have support there, no one is there to be in your mind with your emotions. Like it is a lot of things that may not even be discussed. So being transparent in this way, I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
You want to do it again?
So yeah, so you get Ryan hug. So we'll tune in for the next episode of Breaking Barriers Now with Dr. Stacy. Until then, I will see you next time.